Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. From the deepest jungles to the outmost reaches of space and beyond the veils of death itself, the Bald and Bonkers boys are back for another episode. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Moore promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name. It's no secret that you won't know what will happen next, but Dakota Franson and Chris Moore promise that all bets are off. Viewer discretion and straitjackets advised. These two idiots live up to the name.
Wow. Interesting times are surrounding us, especially when it comes to this little subject.
It is a very interesting subject. It's quite weird because I'm having a lot of computer issues ever since last night. I've had weird stuff's been happening. Really weird things been happening. And it's quite funny actually because it's no letting bad. Just weird things have been happening. Last night was amazing. Last night. That guest was amazing.
It was.
But tonight, guys, is going to be an interesting subject. I've not seen the movie yet. I know Dakota has. I'm hoping to go and see it soon. But I've been seeing clips and I've been seeing some. It's quite bad. It really is. What's been happening to children all around the world.
And I will notice, and have you noticed that conveniently, as we're going into this topic yet again, there's been a drop in viewers.
Yes, I have noticed.
There's been a drop in subscribers.
Yep, that's YouTube though. That's what YouTube. That's YouTube at their very best. Okay, I mean. But that's why we're getting uploaded on a podcast. That's why we're getting uploaded on a podcast, and we're going through Facebook. And there's actually quite a few people on there. The Facebook side, we've got Andy Linden there. We've got Lisa Fry in the chat. So, hi Lisa. We've got quite a few through the Ghost Squad side. So, Dakota, this movie that's made, what was your honest opinion about it? Because I know that you've seen it.
Honestly, I understand how people are trying to throw around the conspiracy label, but it's a film that does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to get you riled up about a subject that should not be happening, and too many people are too goddamn comfortable with it.
Yeah, I mean, I seen a clip. It was part one of like 3 clips. I actually sent you one of the clips through TikTok, and it was actually the guy that's done the movie, and he was actually getting interviewed. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah, the one you sent me, yeah.
And how he was going on about how they're using these ships, these container ships, and what they're doing is this is going to sound gruesome, guys, by the way, and this is actually happening. They're taking children, organ harvesting them, and putting them into barrels. They're dead, obviously. Putting them into barrels, sealing the barrels, putting them aboard these ships, which the US government and other governments of the world have signed off on, because let's face it, they're the one that's helping in this kind of situation here. And that is going to like America to make these fine creams and kind of like creams for like your face to make you look younger. And yeah, $75,000 per barrel. That's what they're getting.
Easily.
Yeah.
The thing is, for one thing, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who may not know, who just barely signed on with us, Bald and Bonkers, we actually got started on this because of comfort around sex crimes involving children.
It's a subject you've got to talk about, right? And it's interesting because I've been watching other people. See, I mean, we were talking last night before the start of the show, before our guest came on, about how those people went to the movie theater and their tickets were banned. Well, I was watching a video last night, and it was actually British people, and they were going to watch it, and their tickets had been banned. The tickets had been refunded to them.
Mm-hmm. Without explanation.
They're trying to ban. And Drew in the chat, the film's Sound of Freedom. I'm just saying, there's somebody asking in the chat.
Be very careful with how much you decide to be a smart mouth on this one.
Aye.
I'm just saying that because that's his brother, and we got to know him a bit.
I know. And honestly, if you want to go and look it up, the new Drew, look it up on TikTok or YouTube, and you'll see what we mean. It's horrific what they've been doing to children. It's not just children; they've been doing it to normal people too, for organ harvesting.
But the kids are more profitable.
Oh, the kids are more profitable, but because it makes you look young. Their skin can be used to make lotions to make you look young in Hollywood. And let's don't forget that some of the big players here are from Hollywood.
It should also be addressed the fact that Chris' signal seems to keep dropping out.
Don't know why. Got it connected to the old. It's actually, I'm having the same bother for you. I've got a full signal.
Huh?
You're dropping out for me.
Convenient.
See the YouTube? I've got the YouTube open on my phone at the side there, and we're absolutely fine. Strange.
Obviously, there's going to be some people that get upset that we talk about this. There's going to be people that want us to talk about nothing but rainbows and unicorn farts. Yeah. But the reality is, as Dot says, it's a very dark thing. And you got to look it up. This whole controversy about the blood drinking in order to retain youth, allegedly it has roots in anti-Semitism.
Oh, yeah.
He used to say the Jews were doing it.
That's right.
But you also have to remember the whole drinking blood to retain young thing, vampirism, that actually has some scientific merit.
That's right, because you get blood transfusions in older rich people. Keeps them going.
There's actually a clinic in Sweden that does it just specifically for that. And it's not just, it's basically anybody can do it. If you happen to have someone, say like an 18-year-old who's donating blood to someone who's older, who just been in an accident or something like that, something a little bit more on the innocent side, the telomeres on the end of blood cells that are actually help dictate the age of the cell itself, those to go away, the cell deteriorates. The length of those can actually be tied to age. And technically, because it is French.
Sounds very French. It is French, yes. It's mule for muscle or something like that.
Yeah.
There you go. French name. But it's, I mean, I've just seen clips, right? Because it's obviously not released here yet. I think it's getting released here. Is it released in the UK? I'm waiting for it to come out in like Amazon Prime or something like that so I can watch it through the TV.
Okay. There's another point about this film. Thank you for reminding me.
No.
This film was done back in 2019.
Yeah.
Ready, as in completed, ready to be filmed. Disney, Amazon, Netflix, all shot it down
Yeah.
because they felt the official reason they felt like they couldn't make money with it.
Well,
Okay, then why the hell? See, another one of the studios that actually had the rights to this when it first got completed was Fox Studios. This was also happening right as Disney acquired Fox. Why is it if they were showed so little interest because of profits when it comes to this particular movie, why did Disney actively use litigation to try to
yeah.
suppress Angel Studios from releasing this film?
Look, they're trying to cover it up. They're trying to kind of. I've seen active online in the UK. They're trying to cover up the film. They're trying to say that it's fake and all that. And I've seen it.
It's
I've
not.
seen it on TV.
I'm not.
It's fake and it's make believe and it's that's what they're trying to do. They know that they're screwed
not,
because it's all coming out. It's all coming out.
No. And I wanted to make sure I did some research in behind a lot of the conspiracies that get tossed around when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, trafficking is happening. This is not a conspiracy theory. It's a well-known fact, and most of the people involved in the operations to rescue these kids, usually end up with a bullet in the head, either because someone found them or they put it in them themselves.
Well, as I was saying, I was watching the interview with the man himself that done the movie, and he's actually in the movie. He's actually in it, and they were interviewing him, and he says he was showing undercover video, right? He was showing undercover video. This is him getting interviewed, and he couldn't sleep for 2 years afterwards because of what he's seen. And I'm going to say something here, and I'm going to annoy everybody. Do you know where some of these places? You know where some of these places are where they're doing this to these children?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting, ladies and gentlemen, because one of them's at war with Russia right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ukraine. That's where these places are, where they collect children's body parts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been proven. So just think that our glorious governments out there are funding for that.
You have to realize the numbers that come from it. It's not that they're funding it, it's that operations like that are the funding.
Yeah. But see, this is the interesting thing. And I came up and got to say here, I've got to say, oh, you're a Russian supporter. Look, just listen to this. The Russians have done bad things, right? So is the Ukrainians. They've done really bad things. They've all done bad things, right? But the Russians have actually came across these facilities in the Donbass region, right? These mechanical slaughterhouses for children. And it's all coming out now. There's top generals, there's top US generals, retired generals actually talking about this. Actually talking about what they found. Because they can't keep it locked up. They can't.
There's individuals coming out on all sides. The pressures that often get instilled to try to get people to shut up about this subject, and I'm eyeballing the chat right now. There's certain things that are trying to deter this conversation, I've noticed.
What's that? Where? Where's that?
Let's just keep going. I want to say it's just paranoia on my part, but nevertheless. And unfortunately, with this subject, we're going to have to go into the more gruesome bits. In the film itself, it uses a common trope, probably the worst way to word it, that happens in a lot of Latin American cultures. somebody comes along pretending to be affiliated with major Hollywood studios, trying to say, oh, these kids have potential, stages fake little auditions, tells the parents that they can't be there.
Yeah.
Then later on that day, when the parents are told, when I'm noticing, when the parents are told to come back for their kiddos, the kids are gone. Now, what are you seeing?
I'm watching my Facebook group, but I've got the volume turned right down. Now, at the start of the show, there were, you know how you get subtitles?
Yeah.
The subtitles were fine. They were understanding us, and now it's just gobbledygook. It's just gobbledygook subtitles. It's just saying random shit that it cannot understand that. It's like it's saying subtitles are fine, they were understanding us and all that. It's weird, you should see it. What it's saying.
Yeah, that's under Ghost Squad Scotland, right?
Ghost Squad Scotland is where we're streaming this through. If you mute the video on Ghost Squad Scotland and watch the subtitles, guys, it's just gobbledygook. I noticed it just changed. It stopped and then just changed.
Huh. It's looking fine over here on my end.
Aye.
But there's also a lot of people saying that the video from last night, it was acting weird for them.
Yes. What have you noticing in the chat, Cross-Eye?
Just, I don't know. Seems like individuals trying to distract the conversation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They know their time's up. It's like Ken in the chat, Jackson in the chat. Their day is done. Their day is definitely done. Mm-hmm. I think within months, no long, I think everything's got to come crashing down for all of them.
No, like I said though, we can't unfortunately talk about these types of subjects without delving into some of the conspiracies, and obviously, considering some of the people that these conspiracies center around, if you hear that me or Chris died under suspicious circumstances, just know. I'm not making a joke about this. Considering who's all involved.
If me and Dakota disappear one night and we've died in unusual ways, you know. Chris was off in a skiing adventure in Switzerland and he was found at the bottom of a mountain. I've never been out the UK. So see if that happens or anything stupid. Look, I think that they're starting to worry now. I'm amazed they never done away with that guy that's made that movie. I'm amazed he's lived so long with the stuff that he's coming out with.
It's a lot like how Elena says.
Yes.
There's unfortunately way too much coverage with everybody having some kind of camera on them these days.
Yeah.
That if something were to happen to her, that only leads more credibility.
See, I'm going to say this, right? I think the reason this is getting out is because of what's happening in the world right now. Change is happening in this world. We've got disclosure, which we talked about last night, right? It's happening. It's going to happen, right? These people that's been in power, that's been controlling us, and has been manipulating the world, they're losing. They're losing. And they can't control, they can't stop this getting out anymore. And the more this gets shared, guys. See, when you see parts of this video that's done, share parts of that film that you see. All our TikTok, share it absolutely everywhere. The more people see, there's the son of the naked Bigfoot. There's Pete. It's been a long day. One really disappears. They float to the surface eventually.
Out of curiosity, on your end, are you able to use the chat function while we've been streaming? Like to post out messages to people?
Yeah, I've got stream and private chat. Why? I can see everybody.
No, as in actually be able to send messages.
Oh, It's been taken away.
Exactly. Now, this could very well just be a Streamlabs function we didn't realize. No, I will say this. Link is in the description. I was trying to bring it up in the chat so that way we can just bring it up on screen because not all of our platforms is linked to see the chat.
I'm going to hide it again. And then bring it back out again. That's weird, that, because I was talking in the chat. I was talking. There, it's there. No, it's away again. It's coming up and then it's just disappearing.
Aye.
Look at that, guys. We can't chat now in the chat. We can't post links. Isn't that interesting?
It certainly is. But I'm trying to get the link to where you can actually buy tickets to see if it's available. It's in the description of the episode itself, and I highly encourage it. There's a lot of people that are actually paying it forward so people can go see it for free, which is really a good thing. I mean, this thing beat out Indiana Jones.
I know. Aye, but let's face it, right? I'm going to be severe here. The last Indiana Jones was quite good, right? This one was utter shit. It was.
Yeah.
It was shit. It wasn't as good. It wasn't as good as the last ones. They can only make so many good movies, right?
And I'll say that Harrison. Yes, they have AI and these digital recreations, and they have new tech that makes it to where you don't even need motion capture anymore. But Harrison Ford's not a young guy. But nevertheless, there are, it is, but it also goes to show the quality of Hollywood's kind of starting to deteriorate lately. More people are becoming aware. Because when you really think about it, everyone is trying to shoot it down as a conspiracy. Yet, we all know that there's been a number of suspicious deaths surrounded by the very people trying to look into this thing.
Oh my God. You just need to look at all the Hollywood actors that have tried to come out about certain things and strangely they've disappeared or died horribly.
Or there's been total behavioral reversal.
Yeah.
And you don't see that type of change in someone unless something seriously fucked up just happened.
It's quite interesting what you were saying the other night before we went live about how you were saying about how some people have been against this type of thing, and then like a couple of weeks later, they've totally changed their attitude and they're acting a different person as if they've been cloned, and that person's been like done away with, and it's a clone in their place.
That's where not necessarily clones, but it's like there's a whole different a lookalike's taken over, and a lot of the evidence that people point to is that when it's clear that the individual doesn't have any specific makeup on, certain like moles, birthmarks that these were known to have before, because let's face it, there's plenty of people that are look a little too close at certain photos.
Aye.
But all of a sudden those marks are gone. Now, these people would have the money and beauty budgets to hide them or completely remove them. That is very true. But nevertheless, and unfortunately, Chris is going with it's all in beauty products. It's not just
beauty products. It's in other things too. I mean, it's in
adrenochrome.
Aye.
And for those of you who don't know what that actually is, it's oxidized adrenaline.
Yeah.
That was believed at one point. It was actually believed to be affiliated with schizophrenia at one point. This was back in the 40s and 50s. Nothing was held true, but the idea is behind it. And you can look up the alleged video called Frazzled.rip. It's a snuff film that allegedly circulates on dark web websites. those who have seen it say the quality of the film is, it looks like it was shot on a flip phone.
Probably was.
But allegedly, I'm saying this so that me or none of my relatives, because I do have a pregnant family member who makes dumb decisions right now.
Mm-hmm.
It allegedly depicts Hillary Clinton and Huma Abida, I believe is how her name is pronounced. It's Anthony Weiner's wife. That's an unfortunate last name considering what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Sexually assaulting and mutilating a unknown teenage girl, surgically removing the skin from her face, wearing the face in order to obviously psych out the young girl, adrenaline to start flowing through her blood,
Yep.
and then start drinking it.
Yeah.
Now, obviously from cases where people have to resort to cannibalism, we know that very action, as Dots mentioned, the file was allegedly found, we're going to use that, allegedly found under a file on Anthony Weiner's computer labeled life insurance.
Yeah.
As in, if somebody tries to go after him, he can take down everybody else. Considering his wife is in that, you dick.
I mean, we just need to talk about the president of the United States now.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's go there. Isn't it funny that the White House had to be evacuated for a mysterious white substance identified as cocaine?
Aye, the cleaner found it.
Shortly after, Hunter paid a visit to dear old dad. And how news outlets are saying, oh, the person behind the white powder will likely never been caught. Yeah, because it's the fucking president's son that's been covering.
It's president's son. Of course it is. It's hunted by bloody Biden.
Go with the fucking...
I'm amazed he's no in jail. If he'd been MD else, he'd be serving 30, 40 years and a penitentiary for the things that he had on that, what you call it, laptop.
Yeah, I mean, look at the case of John McAfee. He was the one that made the antivirus software. His condo was blown up shortly after his death. He knew that there was false charges pressed against him in order to start raids on his house. He was pissed because they killed his dog.
Yeah.
During said raid. So he enacted a small little spy game where he donated computers to several members of Congress. Because, I mean, how fucking stupid are our people of government to try to accept those types of donations from that type of raid after someone's been a target of that type of raid? I mean, law enforcement officers have to essentially cut out family members who make poor decisions in their lives and get arrested for felony crimes just so they don't lose their job. And that's just your typical everyday cop.
Yeah.
And people think, oh, that shouldn't happen. Well, you shouldn't have made the dumb decisions. 1, 2, yes, people make mistakes. And if they've done better to sort out their life and do something better with themselves, and kudos to them. That is a very hard thing to do, but nevertheless, going back to movie studios, here's one question I would like to ask, and part of this is because some of the reaction I've seen when I was on with Elena Denon.
Yeah.
If Sound of Freedom focused on the story of a female agent, not someone who is a very well-known Christian white man, So much so that he and Mel Gibson are like best friends, basically. If the Sound of Freedom focused on a story involving a female agent, would the reaction that it's seeing now be the same?
That's a good question, isn't it?
Here's something to poke the bear a little bit. Let's jump back to 2020 when Netflix decided to put out the film Cuties.
Yeah.
Underage girls teaching each other to twerk.
I know.
Messed up as that is, unfortunately, day of TikTok and kids imitating what they see. Or how about the fact that it actively shows these young girls, not implying these young girls taking images showing off themselves to post online. And everybody was fucking okay with that.
Because it's the day and age we live in now, and it's quite interesting, as it Anne in the chat there, people don't want to admit or accept it's happening. And that's exactly what it is.
You know what?
It's happening more than it's ever happened before.
Nobody who is
people are covering it up.
I know. And like we said at the beginning of the show, Chris and I started up Bald and Bonkers. We found out that someone who, I don't know about Chris, but I was starting to consider the man a brother. We found out that he was put into prison for messing around with an underage girl.
Yeah.
He tried to claim he didn't do it, but here's the thing. The man had a lot of tribal tattoos. It's a lot harder to fake that.
Yeah.
Now with AI, it's pretty impressive. But nevertheless.
But as we say, things people try and cover up things, and that's why I left that situation, because people were covering it up.
That's the part that we look back, because unfortunately, in that specific sort of instance, if I fully believe, and there's been a number of people who said this to me, the fallout that would have happened would not have been nowhere near as bad if we just said, yes, this happened. Measures have been taken to remove this individual from the company, but we don't want to even go as far as saying we don't want to give too much attention to this out of respect for the families involved. People would simply understand that, but it was the fact that it was actively targeting people who were already talking about it and telling them to be quiet.
Okay.
And that's just for some
paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
the main reason that Chris and I found out about it was because someone who happened to live in the area saw it and said, "Hey, you guys should probably know about this." But I'm saying that even that's at a smaller scale, and I understand. No one wants to admit that their loved ones are capable of something like that. That I can understand. But the level that some people go to try to hide the fact that it's happening. Mothers who do not want to let go of a certain significant other will force their children to lie about any allegations brought forward when they try to say something. In fact, I just happened to have something like this happen in my family, Chris. I didn't tell you about, but you know a little bit about the backstory.
Yeah.
Apparently it happened again. And someone pressured her, the one who came out, to say they lied. Yes, I know. And now I know why you're fucking running from me.
That's weird. That's weird. Because I just started getting notifications for Sound of Freedom started popping up on my phone. As if it says Dakota T. Ferguson is now live. It's just popped up in my phone.
Yeah, because since we switched it up to Streamlabs, it all pops up in. That's unfortunately YouTube's always showing.
This is what really annoys me, right? And this is what really annoys me, right? Is the fact that the US government and other governments of the world are knowingly helping and allowing these people to do what they're doing. And guys, you'll think this is all secret. No, they're knowingly cargo ships. Do you know there's cargo ships at sea right now full of children shackled up? Watch the movie. Did you see that bit with the children all shackled up in the ship?
I've seen the full movie, Chris.
I mean, they're knowingly there's ships right now out at sea somewhere in the world with slaves on board. Let that sink in for a minute.
It's not just that. It's not just cargo ships either, Chris.
Oh no, it's other things too. I know that, but
they have to give stewardess flight training on how to spot the likely signs that someone's being trafficked, because they'll just take these people that are being trafficked on commercial airlines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like the whole border patrol scene.
That's an interesting one.
Where the guy was just brushing it off as a kid trying to take his nephew on a trip.
Yeah. But the thing we've got to look at too is that it's happening right now in the Mexican border in the United States, that there's child trafficking going on there too. Under the eyes of the government. They know about it. They know about it, guys. And they're just standing back saying, oh, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We've been told by higher up, no today.
Yeah, because they would. This actually brings up a conversation I had earlier today. You know, as a lot of people know, I like to bring up the scene in Men in Black where Tommy Lee Jones, the person is smart, people are dumb, panicky animals. My mentality, there's a lot of people who cannot help but be followers. And usually the people who strive to, say that they deserve leadership positions are corrupt motherfuckers. And it's not just some creepy men doing this. There's women too, and some of the women that are involved in this are even worse than the men.
Yeah.
Much more sadistic.
There's top Hollywood people that are making millions of dollars off of this.
I remember a meeting with Congress that involved Ashton Kutcher.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Ashton Kutcher and his ex-wife Demi Moore, they founded the charitable organization Thorn, which creates software for FBI to identify child pornography being distributed.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the most heartbreaking things he ever saw was like maybe a 4-year-old boy being raped by an older woman. And this boy was conditioned into believing that this was playtime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize some of the women that get involved in this, they're used because of this whole men are the evil ones mentality. Danny, you got here. Don't get me wrong. I love Danny Henderson. She brought up a point like, where are the real men that would stand up against us? The real men are fucking outnumbered and scared to do anything because of broken women being involved with these people.
Yeah. They're slowly losing control, right? And I think it's very soon everything's going to come out. They can't keep this covered up for much longer. They can't. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
Someone actually sent me a video knowing that we were doing this conversation tonight. They sent me a video that there's people trying to say that Sound of Freedom is propaganda to chip your children. Like some people would do with their dogs. No, you cannot do that. That's illegal. Now there's things like Neuralink getting ready to come out. And you know what? If that technology can be implemented to say like more advanced prosthetics, improve quality of life for certain individuals, or if they willingly do it because they want to feel like a cyborg, that's a matter of their choice. Okay.
Yeah.
But chipping a kid so they can always be tracked. On one hand, it just goes to show how panicky we are about something like this happening. Because unfortunately, some kids are just way too damn trusting.
Oh yeah.
And those are the ones that are going to get their hearts broken the worst.
But I find this interesting because I know the Sound of Freedom is mostly about kids and stuff like that, but there's also adults disappearing at an extreme rate. What is it? What is it every year? How many disappear every year? Is it 1 million? More than 1 million?
Hold on. I put in some of the statistics in the episode description. That's why I wanted to bring it up, just to make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
Estimated 4 million children, 10 million adults every year. An estimated $150 billion US dollars in illegal profits. And
So
it's not just sex
people
trafficking. Well, the cliche Chinese sweatshops is one.
See, some of them.
One of the biggest retail chains in the world, Walmart. That's how they keep their profits, their prices low.
Yep.
Because they utilize illegal trafficking, and it's not just sex trafficking either. They say the majority of these kids get forced into labor. Then you bring in the ET side of things.
Oh yeah.
That point. Now, granted, I don't necessarily follow that all of them, say like missing 411, just as an example.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a number of them are mysterious circumstances. Yes, those do happen. But there's a number of cases where some of these people are never found.
Hey,
we also had to take into consideration. Who was it? Amanda Berry.
Yeah.
Remember when she was found? Think about situations like that where children are literally born into this. How many are out there that we don't know exist?
You think about it, all those people that have disappeared. Yes, some of them could be murdered, but that's like maybe 1% of them. Some of them have changed their names and ran away for numerous reasons, right? They just want to get away, right? But what's happened to the rest of them? I mean, don't say alien abductions and stuff like that. Obviously, there has been some things like that that's happened, right?
Now, granted, there's been a number of cases where the weirdness of it alone suggests that.
I think let's look at China, right? This is actually really interesting. China have actually got places where they harvest organs. And if you commit a crime or people just disappear, right, on the streets, they go to these facilities where they're knocked out and their hearts and lungs and any organs that can be transplanted are cut out of them. China's go these big places like they're like concentration camps, they're work camps, right? But they're also making money from people, parts, eyeballs, hearts, liver, kidneys, anything that you can use in what is it, the black market in body parts. I actually watched the program about this. It was actually really interesting. And how China goes through thousands and thousands of people every year.
It's because their government officials, they admit that they have a population crisis on their hands, which they do. A lot of their facilities over there, I've seen it for myself. A lot of their facilities over there physically cannot keep up with the number of people that are there. Streets of Shanghai, yeah.
Is Shanghai the most populated city in the world?
One of them.
Yeah, I'm sure Shanghai's one.
Yeah. Pollution over there in China is absolutely horrible. It had gotten so bad some years that Chinese officials had to shut down firework displays out of fear of accidentally setting everybody on fire. But when you think about it, the sewage systems over there are not made to keep up. That's
I
where
actually
most of the
watched a
smell
really
comes from.
interesting program over there, and I'm going to, if any of you ever have a Chinese, this is going to change your attitude forever. Do you know what they do in China? And this is actually really interesting. The Chinese places are making meals. They'll dump all their oil into the sewage system, right? And then people will collect the oil for the sewage system, boil it off, and then reuse it in the food cooking again.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's that? What's that? Dots, MC, farming us, this stops now. Exactly. It needs to stop now. It needs to stop now. We need, I want to say a revolution, but we need to change this world. We need to do something soon. And I think they're losing grip. They're losing power. This is why this is all coming out. Look what's happening across Europe now. There's like a media blackout right now across Europe because there's certain countries that are falling. They're changing power. This is them. They're collapsing.
Yeah, no wonder they're not growing tall. Yeah. Yeah, trust me. Over there in China, I was... I got a lot of eyeballs. But, that also kind of brings up, the situation in China. Yes, I've been over there. I have pictures to prove it. There was a situation that made us end up actually going to the hospital in China while we were in China. For some reason, we fully believed something about our breakfast food was fucked with, and everybody who was at that hotel got sick. My group was one of the worst ones because we were on a plane.
Oh dear, sharing one toilet. Is it one toilet?
No, we couldn't even get that. We couldn't even get that far. No, try having to basically lose all your bodily fluids in a squatter toilet.
Oh my god.
One.
I mean, I came with
Two.
food poisoning. Like,
two.
Yeah.
While we were in the hospital, someone was filming us.
Of course they were. You're tourists in their country. Okay, I mean, they probably thought you were a spy.
No, there was some older guy busting out a camcorder and filming some of the young girls.
Oh my god.
It's like, and yes, when you walk on the street, they see a bunch of Americans. They do, like, a lot of people, try to sneak selfies in with celebrities. We used to make a game where we would sneak up to try to catch people trying to sneak pictures of us, sneak up and photobomb them. We made a whole little game about it, but while we were in the hospital, barely conscious, with IV bags that kept falling out of our arms, someone was filming us.
Yeah.
And he didn't care. He was just sitting there with his camcorder like this right in front of us. And it's shit like that gets these kids flagged.
Yeah.
And it's not just in China. It's not just in Latin American countries. It's everywhere.
I know. You must admit, I'm going to bring this subject up because I've seen so much shit lately on TV and stuff like that. It just does my entire head in. Is the movement that's going on now where men dressing up as women and it's getting to the point now where things are just getting ridiculous. I was watching the Joe Rogan show the other night, and they had this guy on, and he's actually a police officer. He's an ex-police officer. And he heard the women screaming in the toilets. And so he ran in. And there was a transvestite just standing with his phone while they went to. And his excuse was, "Oh, I'm a woman. I can come in here." It's sick, man. It really is. The world's totally... Look, I've got nothing wrong. I've got nothing against folk that are kind of homosexual and stuff like that. But it's getting to the point now where they're doing this. I mean, have you seen the Pride marches? Have you seen the Pride marches?
I've
In
seen
New
the Pride
Orleans and stuff
marches,
like
and
that.
we also should really be concerned about the number of parents who want to submit their children into basically genital mutilation just because
Aye,
they.
well, that's what I'm getting to. I was watching a really interesting program the other night, and it's the LBGT, and it's the right LBGT people that have been doing this for years, like maybe doing this for, let's say, the 90s, the early 90s, 80s, 90s, and they are actually getting really worried about this, about what's happening right now. They are actually really worried about what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they say some of these people that are saying that they're women, right, are not actually women. They're just saying that so as they can get into locations. And they're actually seriously worried about it. What's that there in the chat? They're actually seriously worried about it.
Because,
You know?
well, there's not, granted, I'm one of the ones that if you gotta go to the fucking bathroom, just go to the fucking bathroom. But unfortunately, yes, these situations are happening. And a lot of people don't take into consideration that in order to get gender altering hormone treatments, you have to go through psych evaluations to make sure that you can handle them. You can mentally handle the hormonal change that happen to you, because it's actually been proven that there's actual studies on this, that men who spend too much time around nothing but women tend to become more violent. There's actual studies on this.
Drove to madness, ladies and gentlemen. But it's... I'm sorry. Don't give me honest. The women chasing me up the road with burning torches and stuff. But no, I will admit, and there's a lot of people in the chat that can probably admit with me that this world has went utterly mad. It has. What's that in the chat there? How come you don't get a gender-friendly toilets?
Really?
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 Come
true?
on. Seriously?
That's the part you're going to question. Yeah, full on background checks. They do They're supposed to do psychiatric evals, but unfortunately, because of the woke movements, the board of administrations that basically monitor whether or not these physicians get to keep their licenses, they say if you don't just let it through, you're going to be revoked of your license to practice.
I don't know. I think this stage in humanity is going to be remembered as the stupid stage. Don't you think? The evil and stupid stage. Just because of the sheer evilness that's going on right now with the children, with humans getting harvested, with children getting harvested. I mean, people don't realize how bad this is. There's slaughterhouses out there for humans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, industrial slaughterhouses, guys, with like hooks and machines going run about and things run. The people, there's top people. You watch that Sound of Freedom, and you'll be like, "Oh my god, oh my god," you know. But there's people out there watching this that will only believe it. They'll be like, "Ooh, how can you say that about the government? The government don't do bad things."
Yeah, they've been caught numerous times. But it's a lot like the hospital that's not too far from me. A lot of their administrative actions have had to be revoked by the main parent hospital that's 2 hours away because so much fucked up shit has happened in that hospital. Yeah. And unfortunately, it's not just industrial slaughterhouses. It's not like there's anything special that's being put together to round up these kids. No, it's the same as a butcher's hut for cows.
Yeah.
It's the exact same treatment that a lot of these bodies go through because, the whole getting the animals to freak out beforehand, that doesn't exactly do well for the meat.
No.
One.
So
two,
here's what I'm going to say to you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, for the love of God, go and watch the movie Sound of Freedom when you can. And then, if you can, tell somebody about it or share the movie with somebody and get them to go and watch it. We need to wake people up. We need to wake this planet up. There is a lot of people woke up already, obviously with the disclosure side of stuff and that, but this needs to stop. It's terrible what's going on.
But you
Terrible.
also have to consider it's not just, kids being hauled off into some hole somewhere. And no, Drew, like we said at the beginning, Netflix and Amazon would
No, they
not
don't.
allow it.
No, they'll not
They
allow it
tried.
because
They
there's
didn't
other
think it was
ways to watch it.
profitable enough.
There's other ways to watch something. If you really want to watch something, there's other ways to get that. You can.
There's people who have been posts. If you look on websites like BitChute, and
Yes.
websites similar to that, or maybe even Rumble, there's people who have been posting copies of the film, pirated ones. But
I've heard this. It's got to be making it free soon anyway. Soon they're going to be making it free for everybody to watch.
Yeah. It'll probably end up on Vudu here very soon. But even at the end of the film, Jim Caviezel, the one who plays Tim Ballard, he does this exact message because they admit they didn't have money for marketing. They're heavily relying on social media right now to get the word out about the film, as well as people who are buying tickets for people to go see the film for free. Drew, check the link in the description. It'll take you to the official studio's website, show you how to possibly get free tickets if it is near you.
Yeah. Eventually, it'll be out everywhere anyway for free. Somebody will copy it and put it on YouTube, then YouTube will take it down, but then somebody will upload it again, and that's what happens.
That's why I said like websites like Rumble or BitChute, because they don't take down videos. Yeah. Now, unless there's some severely, graphic information like beheadings and shit like that, they'll take it into consideration. But
we need the world to wake up, and it's really strange how I can't comment in that chat.
I can't either,
which is weird. It stopped us for dropping the link, really, innit?
Yeah.
It was there and it just disappeared.
Yeah.
Which is very odd. Which is strange.
But we also had. There's also 2 more points that we had to really push out there.
Yeah.
It's not just these sophisticated networks, and they are. It's the human trafficking, especially child trafficking, outdoes drugs and guns.
Mm-hmm.
It does. And it's not just these sophisticated networks. It's these parents who essentially torture their children and film it. Let's say like JonBenet Ramsey, her father has been pointed to as torturing a young girl, filming it. There's a lot of notes that point that it is that the parents were involved in it, and that there were ligature marks around this girl's nose, as well as found on JonBenet's body. That more often than not, these people will take a small piece of rope and choke out these kids in a certain way to stimulate an orgasm for these videos. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, these kids, anytime there's an extended break from school, that's when these people really go to attack, because any bruises that may have come up are more than likely to have been healed by the time the kids go back to school. You will, a lot of these cases, you do not see the change until it is too late. Did you know, Chris, there is actually a school here in Shoshone, Idaho. I'm going to name the school district that fired a secretary for getting too involved in the lives of kids. What this secretary was doing, if I remember correctly, it was a secretary. Essentially, if she noticed that if kids were all of a sudden not showing up to school for extended periods of time, she would go check on them. She would physically go drive to these people's houses to check on these kids. And more often than not, she ended up calling Child Protective Services because kids were living in complete dumps. I mean, I can understand extreme medical circumstances where the kid's legitimately sick and been in the hospital, and the school fired her. The school fired her.
They fired
the
her
police
because
chief for that area was busted for child trafficking.
Yeah, look at that. Look at that school in the US where was it the governor actually went and stood up and had them
Districts
removed
down in Texas, yeah,
for teaching kids about. I mean,
they were
that's
distributing child pornography,
and the school thought it was okay, and the governor of the state found out, and he had them all removed.
No,
absolutely disgusting.
He gave them an ultimatum. It's like either you step down now, essentially giving them a chance to retain some of their dignity, or you will be arrested. Yeah. And kudos to that guy right there. Because I understand that the whole change from pedophile to MAPS was an effort to try to lessen the blow so people would get help. And that's also acknowledging, and it's because I've seen too much of the dark side to really understand why these people have these sorts of urges, because they were likely child victims themselves at one point in their life. That's the unfortunate truth. They need to get help before they do something that wrecks somebody's life.
Yeah.
They do. I fully say that. By all means, get fucking help.
Yes, and everybody that watches this, I'm just going to... Please, guys, just spread the word. Watch it. Share it with everybody. We have to spread it everywhere. Because maybe one of these days, there'll be a captain of a freighter, and they'll have watched that Sound of Freedom. They're like, what's that cargo we're carrying? And the guy will go, oh, no, it's nothing. It's just normal cargo. I said, well, what's the cargo? And then he'll go and look. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these ship captains will know ken. They'll know ken what they're carrying. They'll be none the wiser. They don't know what's in the containers. They don't know what's in there. Mm-hmm. You know? And when this starts to... I just don't know how the hell... How did you manage to post that?
I physically went in on the YouTube side.
Wow. Like I was trying to figure out how you ever managed to post that. It'll not let us post anything.
Yeah, no.
In my side either. Thank you, government, for doing this terrible thing. But you're just showing everybody that it's just giving everybody the idea to go and watch this movie, because they'll be like, why are they letting them share links? There must be something to this.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Right.
But anyway.
I will say this. Yes, these situations are extreme, but they have...
oh, yes, extreme is the word.
Yes, it is morbid. It is dark. It is depressing. I physically wanted to either, at this point, when watching the film, physically wanted to reach and grab the kids and just grab the kids out of there myself. And there's actual programs that teach you how to pedo bait. And I've been reaching out to not only people who have been involved with this film, as well as former FBI, CIA agents, all of these sorts of people, to actually get, a full-on discussion about this, because these things need to be talked about.
Exactly. There's put something name in the chat. There's Sumete. It says Angel Studios also have free tickets available if the cost is a barrier.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of people who have been buying extra tickets just so. And I wonder, and here's a question to anybody who either sees or hear this broadcast. Can you let us know if those tickets that you paid for someone else got refunded to you? For under suspicious circumstances?
It happened to a lot of people. People have been going to watch it, and then they're like, oh, sorry, we'll have to cancel your tickets. Oh. And they're like,
we refunded your tickets because the AC was working. What isn't working in that theater?
Yeah, and they're like, oh, that's the mail. We'll watch it anyway.
Yeah.
It's strange that you can't comment on this. That's kind of really weird.
I know. I don't know
Very
if it's
weird.
just because of how many platforms we have posted or what. But
It says at the bottom, it says all at the bottom. Let's have a look here. Does it? There's Bald and Bonkers Network.
it could be because of what we have, what platforms we have selected for this to go out on.
The
That could be it.
I had quite a few selected the other night there for the channel, and I could type in the chat. I could type a wee while ago. It was maybe 15 minutes into the show. I could still type in the chat, and then all of a sudden,
Makes you
is
wonder.
this live? Yes, this is live, John.
But you can't
Hooper.
come in right as we're getting ready to start shutting down.
Exactly. But you just need to watch it back. But please, guys, for the love of God, go and watch this movie and share it with everybody you know. These people need to be held responsible for. They need to be, I wouldn't say hunted down, but they need to be arrested, they need to be put in jail, and they need to be dealt with before it stops. And if Dakota disappears one strange night and never to be seen again, and me too, maybe, I don't know. You'll be going to your work tonight. You'll be going to work tonight. There'll be a big black van will pull up and they say, "Excuse me, sir, can I ask you this?"
Careful what you say, Chris. 1, 2, and Joanne. Give it time. Australia is kind of hard to get these types of things down to.
Oh, it's the same in the UK. I'm waiting for the UK.
You got to realize, so this was a small studio that got its funds through crowdfunding, and they still do it.
Like, I'll eventually come out. In TikTok, somebody's put up like part 1 to part 600. And you can watch it on the way through.
People, if you're going to be doing it like that, post the full 10-minute videos.
I know. You're sitting there and you're like, for fuck's sake, a minute, next one. And then you're sitting there a minute there, and the next one, it's, oh, for God's sake. But it's true how people just disappear. But I'm amazed at the people that's done that movie. They're still alive.
They've gotten threats.
Yeah, they've got threats, but I think, do you know what I think it is? I think they're losing power. I think all these elites that are into this, their time is up. Their time is numbered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll be long, as we know with what's happening in the disclosure front and how governments are changing. I don't think when the rest of the governments fall, especially the United States one, with Mr. Biden or whatever his name is, I think it's that I got kicked out of your chat a few times. Interesting that is.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say this, though. I know there's a lot of people that try to watch what we do because of the situations we talked about with Elena Denon and Danny Henderson and all them.
Yeah.
And mostly just because they want to rip certain videos and try to critique truly, truly amazing ladies for what they do.
Yeah. That show was amazing last night.
It was. And ladies and gentlemen, I will say this. Earlier this morning, Danny has extended an offer for Chris and I to appear on her channel. So
there you go.
Keep an eye out for that. I do want to say this, though. And it's something that people really should try to remember more when it comes to just about everything we've ever talked about on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Fiction has to make sense. The truth never does.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't believe something because it doesn't necessarily make sense to you, one, that's just ignorance. And
I meet them all the time.
Yeah.
I get people because of day ghost hunting and stuff like that. There's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as ghosts. Oh, did I tell you the aliens are real?
Now, granted, I'll understand. They're more likely to believe.
Oh, aye.
ETs. There's obviously more likely than somebody coming back from the dead, but nevertheless, yeah, as Samani says here, the truth is often inconvenient, and it's like I was trying to say at the beginning of the show. It's not just these sophisticated networks. Often, it's people who don't want to admit either because they feel like they're going to lose the one thing that actually gives them any value in this life. And my God, if you're truly that damaged, get help.
Do you know what I found
But
interesting tonight? And it's
what's
a
that?
really we're talking about the problems in the chat and stuff like that. On my Go Squad Scotland network thing, there's been 36 people come in, and there's been about maybe quite a few people in the chat, and the chat's always read 0. And they've all been talking.
But that's also Zuckbook for you.
Aye, old Zacky Bug, old Zacky.
I wonder
Zuckerberg is
what
what
would
his name
happen
is.
if we were to try to post this stuff on the new Threads platform that
Dunno.
Meta put out. Essentially Facebook's copy of Twitter. My understanding of it.
See, I actually had a thought the other night there, and tell us what you think about this. They're going on about this new artificial intelligence chip they want to put into everybody, right? So basically, it reads your mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen when they start chipping people that are involved in this exact subject?
There'll be cameras everywhere.
The cameras. See, that's what I'm thinking, because they'll know what they're up to. They'll know what they're doing. They'll know what they're doing with all.
Exactly. It's kind of funny that you bring that up. Jim Caviezel, who plays Tim Ballard in Sound of Freedom, he actually stars in another movie that involves everybody having a chip in their head that records everything they see, called The Final Cut with Robin Williams. He plays the quote-unquote bad guy in it. And the whole focus of the film is that there's a certain individual who died, who was I had to watch it again, but there's a certain individual who died. There was a lot of controversy. A lot of people believe that he was hiding something. As he was going in to edit the footage for a final funeral video, he realized that he was raping. Robin Williams' character realized that this person was raping his own daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that technology is out there, and you and I, speaking as people who like to go out and look for freaky things that are not supposed to exist, having something like that on hand would probably be helpful. But in the same light, anything that connects to the Wi-Fi, especially, can be hacked. Doesn't matter if you have a VPN. In fact, there's ways you can tell if someone is utilizing a VPN, and it's so stupidly simple that it would blow your mind when you realized it.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that's how a number of serial killers have been caught. Something so small and stupidly simple that they.
It's amazing that if you get that person's, whoever's watching your stuff or whoever's trolling you, for instance, if you get their IP address, you can tell exactly where they are. Clever that, isn't it?
No, IP address pins you down to essentially their block. Their block. You kind of have to do a little bit more work in order to limit it down, but all those resources are available for just about anybody to get access to.
What I'm going to be interested in is that, obviously, we're talking about the Galactic Federation last night and stuff like that, and how they've actually rescued a lot of children from extraterrestrial sources. It's going to be interesting maybe in a year's time when it all comes out, right? Or when it comes out, and we get to meet them, and we can ask them to use their technology to find these people.
Unfortunately, that's not how it's going to work.
No.
They'll be more than willing to offer it up.
I would like it to happen, but
they're more than likely to offer it up, but their whole shtick is that it's our world. We need to be the ones taking care of it. not someone else.
Yeah. Exactly. What's that? If those fools are messing with your channel, you're doing great work. Thank you. See, look, we don't care if this YouTube channel gets taken down because we've got the podcast and we've got other backup channels and other kind of stuff like that. Right?
Exactly.
I mean, we're here to try and wake people up and to tell you that don't worry, things are going to get better on the disclosure front, and these people are going to get caught. And I bet there's people out there watching this right now, thinking to themselves, "Fuck, I'm going to get caught one of these days." That's that. I bet they're thinking that now, because I bet they're shitting themselves after watching that movie.
Say it again, Dakota, about VPN. I'm in France and I have to use VPN to listen to Rumble. Okay, honestly, y'all want to know what it is that exposes if you use a VPN?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it really depends on the program. There's programs out there called IP grabbers. That sounds very dirty, but they mean IP address, not not anything phallic. So get your heads out of the gutter. Okay, I know. I just had to say that. No one does it yet. Likes to function,
Oh God,
especially his brother's worse. But anyway,
oh no,
throwing a little humor to overcome the darkness. So this way, anyway. Well, often what these programs do, they grab your IP address, which is kind of like your mailing address. It tells you where the computer is roughly, the network it's connected to, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you are using a VPN, obviously it's going to ping you out of somewhere else. But most of these programs that look for this information, they don't just look for IP addresses. They pick up what kind of device you're using, what operating system it's using, and your local time zone. Just think about it. Say with Rumble as an example, you set your VPN to an address that would ping it in the US. Obviously, France is about 5-6 hours away from the East Coast, time zone wise. If your location and your time zone don't match, that's usually a dead giveaway you're using a VPN.
Yeah.
And there's other programs that usually get implemented to dig a little deeper, but most cases, if they're just some hacker looking to just score information from some rando, they're going to get bored and move on. Yeah. See what I mean? Whatever time your device is set to, those programs pick up on.
So in theory,
like I said, something so stupidly simple, it gets overlooked.
So in theory, if you wanted to trick somebody, you could set that device to the same time zone as a place that you were obviously trying to hide to put the scent off. In theory.
In a way, yes.
Well, that's weird. My Siri just lit up there, and it's speaking to me the now. It is. Look. It is.
Apple's getting worried. Apple's getting worried.
Look, it's the wee things, the wee symbols come up. I never said nothing there. It just popped up. It went, "Excuse me." That's what it went. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're coming for you. They're gonna take you away.
Yeah,
I'm amazed that that person
Amazon device that responded to the word pickle.
So, I'm amazed. I don't know. Is the internet back up in? Obviously, the internet's back up in France, but I thought there was like a blackout in France because of what was happening.
There's a media blackout.
Aye.
And everything that's going on is not getting broadcast to the rest of the world unless it's platforms like this.
Unless it's like fake news.
Unless it's platforms like this who aren't getting the pressure from these major corporations. Thanks, BlackRock.
Yeah. The world is changing, guys, and soon it will get better. But first we have to try and wake people up with the truth.
Yeah.
I do post whatever I want on any platform, and if they shut me down, I'm doing my job. We are winning, and they can't do anything.
Here's the thing.
Well,
They're so they're
Joan
so
Hopper, keep up it.
Yeah,
Stay safe.
They're so paranoid that me talking about, my grandmother going to the hospital because of a heart attack and her finding it awfully suspicious that a lot of people who participated in the same activity she did ended up in the hospital at the same time.
Well, I'm going to say about this is, thank God I never got the jibby Jew. I never got it.
My logic for the whole thing is, like, if the situation truly is as bad as it is, why are you flooding the hospitals? Spend your resources on the people who genuinely would need it, that help.
Yeah. It's amazing how it's just, we should actually do a show about it one night. It's amazing how it's just disappeared for media.
Not necessarily disappear. Well, yeah, because they realized nobody's reacting to it like they wanted to.
Yeah.
And I watched the video that Danny Henderson put out with Tony Rodriguez. They made a very good point. The panic around this whole ordeal was so great that some of the most highly intelligent people out there fell for the trap. And now, something else that you hear very little coverage on is the number of lawsuits that world governments are going against Pfizer because of the number of issues.
Which that says, is that why I also have problems with my internet connection while my husband's sitting next to me? As if you to me, I listen to podcasts like
it
yours.
Could very well be.
Well, my husband listens to MSM. Oh God!
Because it does not take much for. We'll just use the term viruses loosely here. It does not take much for certain programs to get flagged and basically flood your device with nasty shit, so you're less likely to watch it. Because some people are just that fucking vain.
I'm going to say
Apple
this,
products
right?
over here.
I'm going to talk about the thing, the shoulder here. I was when the first thingy Majority thing came out, right? Everybody taking the utter piss out of me, saying, "Oh, you're one of the evil ones. You're an anti, jibby jay thing. You're this, you're that," and they've taken the utter piss out of me, right? See now, who's the one that's laughing? Because do you know people have actually blocked me on Facebook because I said to them, because I noticed they posted stuff on Facebook saying, "Oh, my herb's here. All my pals are dying," and it's sad, and hopefully we can help the people that have had it.
There are ways to reverse what's in there.
There is.
There is. It's out there. But, going back to the conversation that I was mentioning with that Tommy Lee Jones clip from Men in Black, there's two things that are ultimately killing people right now. It's ignorance and ego.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, Joe Ham posted, I only took it because so small businesses could open. They needed a percentage. People have, but she's also down in Australia. They were the ones that really cracked down on it.
Oh, yeah. They couldn't even go it. It was terrible. And I feel so sorry. And hopefully, eventually, they can get you stuff that will get you help. I know people that were forced to get it. Forced. Mm-hmm. They were going to lose their job if they didn't get it. And if they'd lost their job, they would have lost their house and their car and everything.
Yeah. My grandmother, she got it because of the major blue box retailer that she and I both used to work at. Thankfully, I quit that job before all this went down.
Well, saying that, I know someone that's at 6.
Yeah.
6. I'm going to say that again. 6. And I honestly just don't. There are people out there that are just idiots and they can't be woken up. The only way, honestly, there is people out there that are just idiots.
ignorance and ego, not wanting to actually sit down and have a conversation to find out all the facts before you make your decision.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
not wanting to admit that you're wrong to the point you're willing to sacrifice the health and safety of yourself and others.
I can say this. I know about 27 people that have died in my area, all with blood clots.
I know of at least, and this is because I have family
Friends of
members in
friends
law
and stuff like
enforcement.
that.
And we all, and law enforcement does gossip, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
I know of at least 60 cases
No.
where people. There's one elderly couple that they passed away from blood clots in a hot tub, and the people that were in the hot tub place didn't go get them until hours later.
Well, it's quite interesting what it says they drink pine needle tea. Yeah, that pine needle tea is meant to help you. I've heard that. I know someone that knows an undertaker, right? And he was telling me, I'm not telling you this undertaker is. Disney stays down south in England, Disney stays in Scotland. But I know this person that told me the story. And the undertaker, you know how they do that? What's that thing they do to your body? Was it embalming or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
Some people you can pay for it, and some you don't need to pay for it, and stuff like that. And they were talking about the sheer amount of clots they were coming across. But what he was saying was he noticed there was something different, something strange going on. And this is what I'm going to leave you with. He would usually go to the hospital, and a lot of children, we're talking about children here again, a lot of children was dying. Mothers, pregnant mothers that had the vaccine then passed. The children passed when they had them, right? His job was usually to go to the hospital, because he's an undertaker, pick the kid up, take the kid to the undertaker's, prepare it for burial and stuff like that, right? One day he went to the hospital, right? Because the family had phoned him. And the hospital turns and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, we don't do it anymore. We've started a cremation service straight from the hospital for the family now." You don't find that strange?
Yeah, you want to know something else that's fucked up?
There you go.
There's been you were talking about how kids were getting chopped up and all that.
Yeah.
There's actually been reports here in the States of people looking to sell limbs off of children, and obviously families wanting to try to have like open caskets. The doctors would deny the families the bodies.
Yep.
Because
Exactly.
they chopped off like legs, arms, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's well known that these things have happened. And anybody, like we were saying before, if anybody wants to deny it, I would love to live in the world of ignorant bliss.
Oh yeah, there's people like
that you live in, to be completely honest.
Yeah. So it's madness. So just think about it in this sense. There's an undertaker. He's went to the hospital to get the kids and stuff like that, and he's been basically told, "I'm sorry, we've got a new service now where they go straight to the crematorium and seal caskets."
I
Yep.
I know the local mortician. Her son and my sister were in the same class. She's mentioned on a few occasions that something about the blood just doesn't look right. It's like something out of a zombie, almost like something out of a zombie infection movie, is the way she put it.
Yeah. Exactly. So we've left you with some terrors to go to your bed tonight, ladies and gentlemen, to think about. All I can really say is, please share that movie if you get a chance. Please watch that movie if you get a chance. Please stay awake. If awake in the community, obviously, don't sleep mode. And please stay safe, because there are people out there there are bad people out there that want this not to happen.
Like, yeah, exactly. Like Danny was saying, there's a lot of people who are, and it's not just men. There's a lot of people who are genuinely disturbed, who have profited off of this because, unfortunately, a lot of the first people to realize the potential implications of several potentially even life-saving measures, the profits that could be made for them alone. Unfortunately, they were the first ones to realize it. I mean, let's take like Project Paperclip, the number of things that world governments found out because of the Nazi experiments.
Yeah. The Nazis never
Because
really lost the war.
they only lost the battle.
They only lost the battle, ladies and gentlemen. They did. Because who do you think runs the World Economic Forum and old Klaus Schwab? Was our guest last night? Was it Dr. Evil?
I know, that's an insult to Dr. Evil. I want to say that, but my God, that woman's got fire. I love it.
I know. I didn't realize she was Scottish.
I know. I was
shocked.
It threw me off because I'll say it. You know, she always has like this calm, ASMR like tone to her interviews. And last night she was all fired up.
I know.
Like, whoa!
I know. I watched her live last night with the guy from Mars, and I found that really interesting, brilliant. And but on the meeting, I was like,
yeah, remember that was the guy that I interviewed to get his insights on my case.
Yeah.
Like I said on the interview with Danny, within a week, there was loved ones of mine potentially getting framed for potential domestic terrorism charges.
Yeah. Well,
within
a
week.
I'm only going to say this: everybody stay strong and fight the evil. And for the evil out there, we are coming for you soon.
I'm just going to say this. Yes, things are going to get chaotic. We have to acknowledge that. This whole hope that the second the ETs come down, it's all going to be love and rainbows. No. The problems that we see are going to be so simple, taken over so simply when the disclosure finally happens. Yeah. Everybody's going to be wondering, like, where the hell was this all this time, But in the same light, you have to also acknowledge, because we've taken on these issues, there's going to be even worse things that potentially even come up, and it's going to, it's going to be messed up. It's going to be chaotic. It may even push you to where you yourself reach dark places because you lost track of the one thing that matters most throughout all of this. Yeah. If you don't feel like you have, research charities, donate where you can, even just sharing links out on social media, even if you think you're getting there's a shadow banned. Every little action helps. But if you don't feel like you have the strength to take on the very, very heavy loads that come with all this, above all else, do not lose hope.
Yeah. And let's make this world a better place for our children to come. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And thank you, everybody in the chat. And please, everybody in the chat, stay safe and have a fantastic week. And hopefully we will be back next week if we've not been kidnapped.
Well, I'm actually due for 2 interviews this week, so.
He's getting interviewed quite a lot this weather.
Hey, at least you got invited for the one with Danny.
That's because I'm a handsome Scotsman.
Yeah, she also realized. Yeah, I may be the more interesting one, but for some reason,
I'm the handsomest.
This works.
I'm the handsomest. That's what can be said, ladies and gentlemen. I know.
And he's supposed to be a sober Scotsman.
Hey, the new. I'll tell you this, Manu. We'll find them everywhere. Freedom. What? You could be the, would you call it? We could do a remake. Would you call it? Braveheart. We could give you a scene in it, a cult, you know. What? What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Get them in a cult.
Safe. Well, stay safe, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time.
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you see Bald and Bonkers for even more insanity. Be sure to spread the love to the Bald and Bonkers boys' other endeavors. And a special thank you to our audience, guests, and everyone else who helps make this crazy ride happen. Amazing things are ahead. Learn more by visiting www.baldandbonkers.net. See you next time. Much love and take care.